Hi everybody, we are here with our guest today. This is Wes Vi, the Director of Simplicity Outreach, which is a really fantastic organization right here in the Lehigh Valley. So Wes, can you tell us about what Simplicity is?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all.
Yeah,
really
of course.
appreciate the opportunity. Simplicity Outreach is an organization that's really focusing on just kind of meeting the needs of people right here in Center City, Allentown, working with what I guess would be called the working poor. And so just trying to find out what is it that could help them in their daily lives and then make that available to them.
And so the term working poor, in case people aren't really familiar with that, what does that mean exactly?
Well, there's a group of people, in this country, and they work like all day long, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, and even with that, they come up short of making like a decent living. And so even though they're working so hard, they're still classified as poor. And so with that comes, the lack of health care. Obviously, they have struggles sometimes getting food or just meeting basic needs. They're just struggling just to keep a roof over their heads. And a lot of times they'll end up, on the streets for periods of time. So our group is just trying to find ways that we can kind of help augment their lives and provide resources for them and education for things that they might be looking for so that they just get a little bit of help as they're trying to make it through day to day.
Yeah, and part of what you do also is helping them learn to make better food choices within their budget. And so you had mentioned something about some gardeners like planting things just for your organization. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we have a team of volunteers that they're here all the time, every day. They're in Center City getting to know people, and then we had a little survey that we were asking people, what are some of the things you need? And 3 of the top 5 items that people asked for were health related, either for understanding how lifestyle changes can affect helping them with diabetes or heart disease or those things, and also for vegetarian cooking classes.
That's awesome.
And so in looking at that, we also, in communicating with the community, they started saying that they didn't have the availability of good food. So they know they want to do better. They're not real sure how, and even if they knew how, they couldn't get the stuff to do it with. So we started thinking, what can we do? And we haven't figured it all out, but what we have done is started reaching out to people in the country who have space to garden, and we've asked them, hey, plant a plant, and say, this is a plant for Allentown. And so the produce that comes off of that plant, they'll be giving it to us as harvest time comes around, and we're in the process of figuring out how can we effectively get that produce here into Center City and in the hands of people who are wanting to make better choices and need the means to do that.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. A lot of times, even if people had this food, unless you know how to cook it and actually eat the food, it can be really nutritious, but it doesn't matter if you're not eating it. So I really love that education component, and I feel like that's a lot of what we try and do here. So speaking of food, we are going to go ahead and eat some of the stuff I made today. So this is a Polish chilled cherry soup. It's pretty light, has some nice seasonings in there, so you can go ahead and give that a shot. I used to make this with my dad.
Oh, it's very good.
So that's why it's a little sentimental. And then this one's exciting. This is the vegan pulled pork sandwich, but we used some shredded oyster mushrooms. Then we made a barbecue sauce and a really simple coleslaw. So it's going to get a little messy. So hang in there. You got a napkin.
Wow.
Holy criminy.
That is so good.
And this is awesome. And so many of these components, mushrooms are really, really cheap. We made a sauce out of just like pantry staples, very inexpensive. And then the slaw, we have carrots and cabbage, like 2 of the cheapest vegetables that you can find. So this is actually a pretty budget-friendly sandwich. So I love the work that your organization does. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers are going to be interested to learn more. So how can they find out how to get involved?
Yeah, so we have a website called simplicityoutreach.org, and on there you can find out a little bit more of some of the programs that we're doing. There's also a form on there you can sign up if you want to volunteer with us. So.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
And for joining us today. And we'll see all of you next time on Save the Kales. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.